The final day of practice at Marlies training camp. It's just 2 games that lay ahead now. 3 practices all told, really, and 2 scrimmages to show your stuff. Now, the group got pared down considerably to a group that is manageable for 2 games on the weekend. One Friday night against Rochester and one Saturday night. Well, for the players who are up front, a lot of question marks. Defensive, forward, doesn't matter. But for Cal Heater, who signed as a depth goaltender, he understood his role coming into camp. And certainly, if you remember Cal, the last time he was with the Toronto Marlies, a few years ago, the Marlies were in Texas, needed a backup badly, found Cal Heater. He backed up one night in San Antonio. The team ended up winning a wild one, 2-1. And then the next night, he played and started in Oklahoma City. And the Marlies, who were going through a rough stretch at the time, ended up taking a point out of Oklahoma City that night. And then shortly after that, Cal Heater found himself in Croatia. And now he finds himself back with the Toronto Marlies.
It's a long time ago. I mean, a lot of games. But yeah, I do remember playing, of course, remember putting that jersey on and playing with the guys. Actually backed up the night before in San Antonio and then played the next night in OKC. And then I think 3 days later I was in the KHL. So it was a bit of freaking flyer miles there for me that weekend, but had a blast. You know, they both just sort of came together last minute. I had gotten a invite for that weekend from the Marlies. I don't know, maybe like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then I'd been contacted by the Russian team, you know, the day later, maybe the same day. So I signed that contract with them. They said as long as, you know, he doesn't get hurt, it's fine. He can go play that weekend and then report to Croatia as soon as possible.
How did you end up here with the Marlies this time?
Oh, I think having played here in camp, I was here in camp 3 years ago for Maple Leafs camp and then Marlies camp right after. I think being here on that PTO and then getting a chance to play, you know, it was only one game, but play the one game for them, Marlies in regular season, I think that sort of put me in front of the management's eyes. So when it came time for them to find someone of, you know, sort of a veteran guy who's been around, capable of certainly filling in if need be, and, you know, can take over the load when needed as well. So I think having that previous experience in front of the coaching staff, not coaching staff, but management, really helps me come back this year.
Has it been kind of whirlwindish?
We were here all last weekend, but sort of like an in-between camp almost, where we were just practicing daily. And so that was it was strange because we weren't doing anything. We were just coming out, we work out, practice. That was a little bit different. And then this week camp started, like you said, it was quick again. But I think it'll be good to get into a couple games here and finally get some live game time that's not inter-squad scrimmage. So I'm looking forward to getting some ice time this weekend and having a chance to prove my worth against another team.
Well, if we learned anything in my 2 years that I've been here, it's that you can never have enough depth at the goaltending position. And I've been real impressed with what I've seen from him. We're starting right with the Leafs camp. I thought he did real well. The battle right there with all our guys and even the NHL guys. I think he did real well in the scrimmages and the camps there, or the practices there in camp. And has done well here so far. So I'm anxious to see him in a real game and get to know him a little bit better.
A tighter, more comfortable group this morning on the ice, a little easier to manage?
Yeah, it's easier to manage, and we didn't have a scrimmage today, so you got a little more out of them in the practice. A lot of teaching today and trying to cover a lot of things. You're obviously, much like the rookie tournament, you're not going to master anything in one practice, but between the last 2 days that we just had and then today, we're just trying to give the guys a real sense of what the expectations are from a structure standpoint. So, once they know where we want them to go and how we want them to play, that, their ability and work ethic and all the intangibles that they bring to the table can be showcased.
It's one of the bigger dangers in a couple of games like this, and especially what's on the line for these guys, to kind of go Lone Ranger for them, just not play within the structure.
Yeah, I think so. It's, if you're going to do that, you better be very good. And, it's a lot of times if you play on your own page, it leads to a lot of turnovers or sloppy play and things like that really really stand out negatively. So we want to see guys that can play within the structure. If anyone, for the most part, that's going to earn a spot on our club, it's going to be a depth position, if anything. And so with that being the case, you need to be versatile, you need to play within the system, you need to show that you can learn things quickly and adapt, whether, whatever the situation is, whatever position, power play, penalty kill. So those are the kind of things that I'll be looking for this weekend.
John, how has been camp for you so far?
Yeah, it's good. Working hard, practice is tough. Making sure last week was good, getting to know the systems and getting the legs under us for this coming week and the games this weekend.
And how much can you hope to gain as far as the system is concerned over just a couple of days?
Well, I had the luck of being at rookie camp and main camp as well, so hopefully I've grasped most of what we need to know, and tomorrow is just you got to go out and execute the systems.
Familiar spot to go back to for you this weekend as well. Any advantage to that?
No, not necessarily, but it'll be nice to see some familiar faces, my old teammates and whatnot, but once the puck drops, it's just a hockey game.
How does it come about for you to join the Marlies over the course of the summer?
Once I learned I wasn't going to be re-signed with Buffalo, I got a call from Kyle, and we discussed the opportunity, and I figured why not. I've already played with Sheldon, AJ, Kyle, and Sault Ste. Marie, so I thought it was a great opportunity to familiar faces and proven the hockey.
What's been the competition like amongst the guys? It seems like it's pretty intense.
I haven't seen this before, but it's good. Competition makes you better, and I think that's what they want. They want everybody to get better and compete for spots and just have the most competitive team out there. So I'm just going to do my best and try to earn myself a spot.
Jean Dupuis, one of those guys that is looking for a depth position here with the Toronto Marlies, and played the veteran card like a boss earlier today as he brought the equipment guys a box of donuts. That can never be a bad idea. Well, for the Marlies, it's off to Rochester to face the Amherst on Friday night from RIT. And then on Saturday night in Buffalo, they'll face the Americans again, and that will be the end of preseason and training camp